What's the difference between you running a law firm versus you running kids can swim?
I knew about people who ran that kind of like business. They have different other activities. For us, 24/7, that's all we do.
Saw all the other sides of corporate life.
Active learning time means the amount of time that a kid's in a class actually practice.
There's a lot of logisticals around what you're building.
Yes.
What's that experience been like? Hugh, welcome. Thanks for coming. I know there's been a lot of coordination back and forth,
Thank you for having me.
but you're here on the podcast,
Yes.
and we're going to talk all about kids right now.
Perfect. Looking forward to it.
So you started a business, Kids Can Swim.
Yeah, Kids Can Swim Canada. It's basically a privately run learn to swim school. So think about a thematic park, and we put a pool within a building, right? The water's at 32 degrees, so it's like a hot tub. And everything that we build around it, the reception, the shower, the change room, everything is for kids. So in other words, when you go, kids want to go to their swimming lessons. And because we're privately run, we're focusing on exceptional customer experience. So everything that we do is around the parents to make their life easier, right? It's no secret that having swimming lessons in Canada is a real problem.
Why is it a problem?
It's a problem because you have to be on your computer, right, at 9 o'clock at night. And if you're not there within a few minutes, all the classes, right? The city-owned pools serve various purposes, right? And we feel and we believe it's important that they're there, but they can only allocate a certain amount of hours per week for swimming lessons. They have water polo, they have, different other activities. For us, 24/7, that's all we do, right? So when we make the experience a little bit easier, we have a lot of key differentiator, I like to call it, right? In other words, we have our pool shallow, right? The pool is only 3 or 4 feet of water. And the reason for it is that the kid can touch the bottom. So when they touch the bottom, they feel more safe and they feel more comfortable to actually learn to swim. The water is one of what I said earlier, about 32 degrees, so it's super warm, which make them want to be in the water and being comfortable, right? Another element that we have is we all remember when we were kids, you were 6, 7 in a class, right? And the instructor grabbed one kid and you go and you learn to swim, right? But because the pools are shallow, right? We are able to put the instructor in the middle, right? And have all the kids around the person. So it's called active learning time. Active learning time means the amount of time that a kid's in a class actually practice. And we have a minimum at Kids Can Swim of 60%. So in a 30-minute lesson,
Nice.
18 minutes is actually moving and practicing. We have also a low ratio kids. So maximum is 3 to 4 kids per class. And we feel that they learn better in a smaller and low ratio. So that's one of the key differentiator of the business.
What made you start this business?
So in 2010, I got a call, right? I have another career previously to this. I ran a law firm, corporate law firm. I'm a business lawyer by trade, and I had clients who wanted to get into the business of learn to swim. And the Mecca is Australia, right? In Australia, they have about 600 private swim schools. So long story short, I went with them to Australia, and we negotiated the rights to purchase a swim school there to bring it to Canada. Unfortunately, the clients decided not to proceed, and it stayed with me. About 10 years after, I started to have kids on my own. I got married, and I thought about the idea. And I heard about people complaining how difficult it was to have great swimming lessons. So I went back to Australia with my wife, and we took
Are you from Australia? Or
No, I'm from north of Montreal.
All right.
But because of this experience as a lawyer, I knew about people who ran that kind of like business. And I came back, I did a lot of study. We brought back a partner from Australia who helped us to open the first business. Our first location was in Kanata. And unfortunately, we opened 6 weeks pre-COVID.
Oh,
So we opened and
my
closed about
God.
8 times over.
I couldn't imagine the restrictions around
The
COVID.
restriction was super tough. It was difficult. We had an amazing team. We were lucky we stayed open. The community in Ottawa has been just incredible to us. And they saw the value, right? A place where you can bring your kids. You can actually we have 2 fundamental things that are different as well. Number one is we provide makeup tokens. So in other words, if you join, we don't have term session. Usually you have term session, you go for 3 months. For us, you can join at any time and you can quit at any time by providing 30 days notice.
What happened to that location in Kanata?
It's still ongoing. We have more than 1,200 kids a week going.
What's it called?
Kids Can Swim
Oh,
Kanata, right? So we have one now in Kanata, we have one now in Orleans, and now we have one in Westboro as well. And we're negotiating right now to open in Barrhaven and also in Stittsville. And after, we're going to take it across Canada, the concept itself. So to go back to the makeup token, you're a parent, you have
yeah.
3 boys, right?
Yeah.
You sign up, you have one class a week, right? Like it's like a subscription for a gym, and you miss the class because your boy is sick. Automatically, you get a makeup token. A makeup token, you can go back online and say, okay, in 3 days from now, there's a class there. I'm going to sign up. So you don't lose the opportunity of having to learn, right? That's number one. Number two, we have a learning guarantee. We believe our program is very different than the others. So if you don't pass after a certain amount of weeks, we're gonna give you, classes to swim boost your ability, right,
Nice.
itself. So that's really a little bit of difference. So when you think about it visually, you walk into a place and there's a pool, right? It's about 6,000 square feet. And the person at the front desk is actually want to say hi, right?
Mhm.
Because it's privately run. We emphasis about customer like customer experience. You go in, you got your booklets, you go change, you go around the pool, and you have your 30-minute lessons. So that's the new concept
Okay.
that we brought to Canada now.
You've been in corporate life for how long?
I've been in corporate life for 20 years.
You saw all the other sides of corporate life dealing with entrepreneurs,
Yes.
and now you were an entrepreneur. I'm not saying you weren't an entrepreneur before, but
It's a different approach.
it's a complete operational service
Yep.
business versus, I mean, you have to, leasehold improvements. There's a lot of logisticals around what you're building.
Yes.
What's that experience been like? Like, have
Hell.
you?
It's been hell.
It's been hell.
It's been hell. I think that people do not realize the ups and down of running a business. I think it's very there's a reason why entrepreneur hang out with entrepreneur,
Yeah.
right? Because you just understand each other. You
Yeah.
just have to do what you have to do. Doesn't matter if it's 8 p.m. at night or
Yeah.
you have to do what you have to do. It's not always easy.
Yeah.
I was privileged for 15 years on the law firm side to
Right.
work with entrepreneur. But until you live it, it's very easy just to say, oh yes, until you experience it. Once you don't know, during COVID, right? We had a burn rate. We were losing a ton of money every month. We kept our full-time employee because we wanted to ensure that we're the kind of company, but it was creating a burn rate that it was big. Once you don't know where to get your money for the next payroll and you have to scramble, you have to negotiate. We've been very lucky with the landlord at the time. They work with us, right? They came to the table and they said, let's figure it out. We had great people around us, but the amount of stress, to answer your question directly, the amount of stress that you have to go through and the emotion, you just don't know, right? It's not if another problem will arise, is when.
What's the difference between you running a law firm versus you running Kids Could Swim?
I think fundamentally, Kids Can Swim. The purpose, what's attracted to us about building Kids Can Swim,
You
is
say
it's
we, is there?
me and my wife,
Okay.
and who's been very instrumental to the business. And we had a partner that went back to Australia now, and he's building swim school again in Australia. Yeah, he had to leave during COVID, but now my wife and I are building Kids Can Swim because of the purpose, right? There's a mission. It's fundamentally great to see people learn to swim,
Yeah.
right? We say at Kids Can Swim, learn to swim for life. It's a life skill.
Yeah.
We see it as such, right? You can grow the business, right? You make an impact and you work with people that are happy. You see, when you go to the site and the centers, you see families, you see kids, right? And we made parents' lives easier with the makeup token, with everything. They can book online, they can cancel online. They don't have to sign up for a period of time. If they miss a class, they get another one. So once you make this impact, and the third pillar that we're going to work on, and probably 2027, we're going to create the Kids Can Swim Foundation, right? So everyone knows that there's kids that can't afford the private sector. So for the unsold spot, We want to give it
Nice.
to people in needs.
Nice.
Right. So that's something that we can create. So that's, I think, the three pillars. The mission and the purpose is fantastic. Number two, it's a fun environment to be in. It's not conflictual like lawyers all the time,
Right.
that you're under stress, you have to work. It's
Yeah, it's a
actually
different emotion
it's a
for sure.
different
You're
emotion.
seeing happiness versus
Exactly.
anger.
Anger or stress,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
you're making a
Getting the
mistake.
deal
Yeah,
done.
getting
Yeah.
the deal done and working for 18 hours in a row to work on a transaction. But and the third was you can give back to the community.
Right.
So these really were the three pillars of why we took this on, and we feel as a Canadian company, right, we can make a difference because we build a system, right? We build a business as a system right now, right? So we use the period of COVID, which was 18 months, and given my background in law, I basically just said we're going to systemize everything from the get go. You see very few businesses that are small, right?
Mhm.
With few location that is systemized as we are. We have operating manual, we have systems, we have, everything is in place to be able to scale and grow the business and ensure that, things are going smoothly.
I could talk from personal experience having 3 boys, 6'3" in 3 weeks now. My biggest anxiety right now, we have a pool in our backyard. Our 3-year-old is not there yet where he can swim, and it makes me so nervous.
Yep. And
Like,
we live in a world where there's
yeah,
pools, there's lake. As I said, this is something for us, it's really a
yeah,
life skill.
yeah,
And once you have it, right, it's something you don't have to worry about.
yeah,
I think it's extremely crucial. And I think people are craving that it's easy to do,
yeah.
right? It's no longer you have to drag the kids in the car and they actually want to go. I was saying to a dad this week on Monday night, I said the issue we have is the first time that a kid go to our site, they don't want to leave the pool,
Mm,
right? They enjoy it so much they don't want to come back.
mm.
And for our team members, right, they create a relationship with the kids and a bond, right? So we're lucky we have about 175 team members now,
Wow.
and we spend a lot of time on training. We're a big believer in training. So they're national lifeguard, the people in the pool, we call them aquatic educator. So they spend their national lifeguard, and we train them an additional 35 hours to our system, to our curriculum, right? So our curriculum is ours. So it's science based, it's based on repetition. So we work on 4 weeks, and they repeat the skill every single week, and they come back the next month. So by doing repetition, by ensuring that they're moving at least 60% of the time, think about this, right? If you're a parent, and we're both parents, and you sit by the pool and you see your kids getting 1/7 of a 30-minute class, right? You're looking at 4 minutes to 5 minutes. By the time the class starts, the first minute, the last minute, you're looking at 4 minutes of real education. We take this and we flip this into its head, and we say we put the teacher in the middle because our pool are shallow. Every kid can touch the bottom, so we don't have to bring them from the wall.
Mm,
They can actually do the exercise.
mm.
And if they move 60 or 70% of the time, you went from 4 minutes, right, to 18 to 22 minutes. So that's just the progression is way faster, right? That's the proof. The proof is in the pudding. We see our kids progressing faster than they ever been because they actually every single week they get more individualized attention in the pool.
And when you went to Australia or figured out this concept, you brought it back. Like, if someone sees a concept, what's the first thing that they should do? From like, do you set up a corporation? Do you?
So the way the process works is we've seen it, and I met my wife and I said, "Look, I'm thinking about doing this." So we took a trip, and at this point in time, I probably saw 100 swim school around the world, right? Because I've been doing this for 15 years. We've looked at this, right? So we went to see different facility in the U.S. We've seen in Canada, there's about 60 swim school, privately run swim school in Canada only. And we went to in Australia, went to New Zealand, we went to a couple of places. So number
So 60 in Canada,
60, yeah,
600 in Australia.
exactly.
And then a lot in the States.
In the state, it's probably around 500.
Oh,
There's two major players,
okay.
right? There's two main competitors that are franchisee,
Okay.
franchisor, and they bring franchisee. They have about 400 locations combined plus the other one. So I would peg it to around between 500 and 1,000. I'm
Okay.
not 100%
So there's
sure.
a huge opportunity in
In
North
Canada,
America and
yeah.
in North America.
In North
Yeah.
America and Canada mainly, but also in the US and North
Right.
America. So to answer your question is, when I came back and I said to people, that's what we're going to do, people thought we were completely nuts. They could not imagine, what are you talking about? A pool in a building,
Right.
right? And this winter, and it's going to
Yeah.
be cold, and it's a big investment. So the CapEx is
For
expensive.
sure.
We spent about 500,000 just for the HVAC system
Right.
to make sure that the humidity controlled, because the building, we want to make sure the building is safe,
Right.
right? We're partnering with the landlord, right, to ensure that it's a 20-year deal,
Right.
right? So we're there for a long period of time. So we spend a lot of time and money ensuring that humidity is good. There's a Dectron machine, the pool itself. We use UV system. So UV system kills 99.9% of the bacteria.
Mm.
We turn the water anywhere between 2 and 4 hours, right? So we're doing everything that we can to ensure that the water is crystal clear, that it doesn't smell chlorine, and that, again, kids in mind, right? So they look at the pool, they want to go, parents feel safe, and you look at a concept like this, you try to explain to people. Until we did the first proof of concept, people didn't get it.
But when you were looking at doing all your research,
Yeah.
were the numbers in your mind as well, or is it like this concept is gonna work? I'll
So what
figure
we
out.
did is we work on looking at the market for 3 to 4 years, right? We spoke to people, we spoke to parents, and frankly, the decision was fairly easy at the end. When you look at where can you get, the public pools, and you have a couple of other providers, right, that you can take swimming lessons. But the city of Ottawa, for instance, right, it took about 2.5 minutes every single sessions to be selling out.
Mm.
So when you look at this, you say this is not an issue with demand. The demand is there. It's how do you make sure that you get there, right? And we knew that by building the concept and people experience it, we would do that, right? And Toronto itself, back in 2021 or 2022, there's 64,000 people on a wait list to get swimming
Oh, wow.
lessons. 64,000.
Right. So you know the demands
The
there.
demand is there. We just want to make sure that we are doing it right,
Right.
that we're building the facility in a place where it's convenient for people,
Right.
right? So we always say we want to be the farm boy,
Mm.
right? The farm boy of the learn to swim,
Mm.
right? Because every time when you went to farm boys, you have a lot of options,
Mm.
right? For a grocery store. Why do you go to farm store? It's a bit more expensive, but the service will be exceptional. The quality will be there. They're going to walk you to where you want to be and what you're trying to get, right? And I think that makes a hell of a difference. And I think that's a little bit the concept, right?
So you love the concept. You saw the demand. The numbers made numbers probably, and then you kind of crunch the numbers to be like, when's my return on investment? How much money to? Right.
Exactly.
So tell us about that process.
So the first one was a smaller site. So we took 3,500 square feet. Now we're taking 65 to 7,000. So we doubled. So we hedged our bet. The first one we half, knowing what we know now, we should have taken double the space, but that's okay.
Yeah.
And
so you try to de-risk yourself.
I risk myself by being smaller, right? Smaller footprint, cheaper to operate, and see what the demands were, right? And throughout COVID, even if it was difficult, every time that we reopen, our numbers were doubling
Right.
every single time, right? And again, I said earlier, it's about the community has been incredible, right? The community has been supporting us. We're local, funded here, and we're big believer in giving back,
Mm.
right? So every time that we have a request for charity, donation, free classes, it's always yes. That's part of the corporate values that we have, and the core values is we can do that because of people who put us there. So we're a big believer in giving back to the community.
When you started crunching the numbers, what was going through your mind? Like, I mean, in law and accounting, you bill the client, you get paid within 30 days. This is you're doing a 20-year lease
Yep.
with 500,000 of HVAC, the monthly expenses,
Yeah.
like
So
you
we ran the numbers, and at some point I look at it, and we needed the first site, we needed 70 people a day to break even. And when you look about it, we're open roughly about 7 to 8 hours, right? It's 7 people an hour, right? Between 7 and 10. In our mind, I said to, the team, if we're unable to bring 10 people an hour,
we're doing
there's a
something wrong.
exactly
Yeah.
something is wrong. And that's where when it click and say, okay, yeah, it's a risk, but even if things go wrong, we can bring people. We know enough people in the city. If we deliver great service, great quality lessons, people will come. And I think that's where the first spreadsheet, I remember like yesterday, the first spreadsheet was like, okay, at first it seems daunting.
Mm,
When I say to people 500 kids, they're saying, oh my God, it's a lot of kids. Okay, if I tell you now it's 10 an hour, right?
yeah.
It's not
So
50 hours a week.
you broke down the big picture
Yes,
into small, itemized things. Okay, let me start to get 10 in per hour
exactly.
and then grow from there
Exactly.
based on the cash flow that you need to
Exactly.
survive.
And that's where we knew that we were onto something,
All right.
right? And as we were building the business, parents hang out with parents, you know that.
Yeah.
So the best referrals are
Mhm.
within our community. And I think that's what we've created now. We have about 29 or 30,000 people who was part of the KCS family, right? That the either are members, were members, so part of the 3 locations. And it's a community. So we're going to do stuff at each location. We're going to do barbecue. People come. We help each other. We promote small businesses that are within the neighborhood, right, to be able to give back. And I think if you take that approach, I think fundamentally people realize that you're there for the right reason, right? You provide a great product, right? We want to make sure that the place is super clean and it's safe. Safety is on number one in our core
For
values
sure.
for obvious reasons. Cleanliness is extremely important as well, right? Because it's a smaller site. It's also less intimidating for the
Mhm.
kids when they come in, right? And there's a lot of cool visual and colors and so on and so forth. It's more, it's less daunting, right? We have individual change room for parents to be able to change. Everything that we've built is what you would like to have as a parent, right? You want to have the flexibility to book online, change your classes, get get to know the other parents as well, right? Get to know the team, and with that in mind, we're still making additions to the business every single time, but the core fundamental is we want kids to be comfortable, and we want them to learn to swim. It's our mission. A lot of people are asking me, why are you putting a learning guarantee? Because our program, we know that it works, right? And at some point we're able to put the seal of approval to say, if it doesn't work, you're not going to have to pay, right? And a lot of people are very impressed by that, right?
How did you get your first 70 clients?
Um, like I remember we were doing radio interview, and we were doing a lot of social media, right? And don't forget, you're trying to pitch a business that no one knows.
Right.
People never saw it.
You're educating the
They're educating on even a pool, and like they just don't really understand. So we had to start building. And I remember doing a lot of social media within the site when the pool was getting up and ready. And people were, we offer free classes, free trial, because we believe the day that you're going to come see what we offer, it's so different that you're going to register, right? And I remember the most stressful period is we had issued construction. Surprise, surprise. And we had to delay by 6 months the opening,
Oh, wow.
right?
So not even a couple weeks.
So it was supposed to be 3 months. And I took the decision. I remember I filmed a video and I said to the client, we're not going to tell you 3 months and it's going to be five. Want to be right? We're supposed to open in September for back to school. And we finally opened January 4th.
Wow.
And in March was COVID. But we just delayed by 6 months, and I thought everyone will leave, right? But again, by virtue of being honest, by sending a video, right? Explaining what happened, that it's out of her control, that we're honest, that we're transparent, that the fees, we didn't collect any money until the place was open. You're going to keep your spot, and we want to do it right. And I think if you don't cut corner, people appreciate that, right?
How big has social media played in?
It's been huge. Uh, I remember at the time when we opened, because it was such a cool concept, we would boost a Facebook ad and we get 40,000 views,
Wow.
right, in Ottawa,
Wow.
and word to mouth, word to mouth, word to mouth. It's been a game changer, because when people can see it visually, it's easier to and people,
Connect.
yeah, it's easier to get when you see it visually. And now on our website, you have the video of the pool. You have different people know that we're real
So when you did the free trial, was there signups right away?
right away, right away,
Filled up.
because there were no risks for them, right?
Mm.
And we when we open a new site, we go to the various festivals. We're gonna go into, we're gonna promote at Tanger Outlet, for instance. We're there. We're gonna go at different malls, and we're gonna take a booth, and we're gonna explain what we do. Right, the parent show, the baby shows, all of these shows. We're there with parents. And now that we have enough people, when we're opening a new site, we know someone. Let's say your sister lives in Barrhaven and you're a client or a guest, you already talked to her, right, about it, and that's how we've been growing the business.
And once these individuals signed up for your free trial, how many of them converted to paying customers? And was the grand?
So 67% convert. So I'm a math geek. I like data, right? So we keep track of everything. In average, it's between 62 and 67% who comes into the pool.
So are you still offering free trial?
We're offering free trial. We believe that people are. I want them to come see what we do,
Mm.
right, and decide if it's right for them and their family, right? So,
I
uh,
mean, a 67% conversion is unheard of in any type of conversion.
it's
Like
the reality is
usually it's like less than 5% of conversion in online.
they have an interest in joining.
Yeah.
First, we just need to convince them that's the right place for them, right? That's the right place for them to come. They arrive, right? So the pattern, if you're a free trial person, you come in, right? So you're welcome by reception. We have put a little asterisk to make sure that we give you a free tour, right? So we're going to take the time to explain you where everything is. When you're going to go on deck, right, where the pool is, you're going to be welcomed by an on deck coordinator who's going to make sure to know where your lane is. We're going to bring you there. We're going to give you the lessons. We're going to give you a free assessment of your child. And the ODC will talk to you about the program. We'll talk to you about what do you think. Do you have any questions? And on the way out, we will ask you to complete the 3 or 4 questions. Did you receive the training? Did you receive ABC? Do you want to enroll now? Do you want to look at spot? So we keep the data on the why if people don't and do. And as I said, I think people experience it. It's the fear of the unknown,
Mm,
right? For a lot of people, and that's why we do the free trial.
mm.
The conversion is fantastic, but we want people to not. There's no. You come if you don't like it. That's okay. It's your prerogative. We want to remove all the barrier to entry until that people know exactly what we do, and it's easier now because a lot of friends are coming. Like if I'm saying, you should come with me, you already trust me. You already know I'm not going to bring you to a place where it's unsafe, unclean. So we're lucky to be able to do that. But there's a lot of people who don't know about us, right? It's a million people in Ottawa, there's still a lot of people who don't never heard about Kids Can Swim, never heard about the story, never heard about our mission, our purpose, what we do, where the locations are. So that's why we're still promoting all the time, right?
And building those customer journeys and all that, is that you, your wife? Is that
It's me. I'm in charge of marketing,
okay?
right? I'm the storyteller. It was initially my vision to build this, to promote it, to see that there were a need in the community, right, and to do it at a standard. That's the beauty of law. It taught me to do things at a higher standard.
Mm.
Don't cut corner. I'm proud to say we had in the past 5 years, we had 23 city inspections across the 3 locations. We fail 0.
Mm.
zero, and there's different criteria. As every time you have a city inspection, there's probably about 15 questions. Yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. We never fail anything. And knock on wood would continue to do that because safety is very important to us, right? So that's the advantage of the practice of law for so many years. We're doing things properly. We're not cutting corners if we need to invest into certain area, about safety, about equipment. It's as the CEO, I make the decision that's a priority for the business. And I think that's because I don't have an aquatic background. We're surrounded with people who do. I look at it a bit differently. I think
It,
that's the main difference.
yeah, the outsider always wins.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so.
It's like me in accounting. I mean, I'm not an accountant, but I built an accounting company, hired technicians,
Yep.
and look at it completely different than any other accounting person.
You looked at it as a client,
As a business, yeah.
as a business,
Yeah.
as a client.
Customer
You want to
journey,
go
your
there, customer
marketing,
journey,
yeah.
customer
Like
experience.
you've simplified the process.
Yeah.
Hey, come in. We're gonna treat you like a human, and we're gonna show you around.
Yep.
If you like it, you can sign up.
Yes.
If you don't, we'll see you
Next time.
next time.
Next time when you're ready, if
Yeah.
it fits your schedule next year, or after a second child, like we're building relationship,
Yeah.
right? It's funny because as we're growing, we're hiring a lot of people. And then my first question is always ask them after they tour a facility. I said, "In which business are we in?" And I want them to respond, "We're in the customer experience business," right? Yes, we're providing great, amazing swimming lessons, right? But first and foremost, I want the instructor to smile in the pool. I want them to have a great time, because if they have a great time, the kids will have a great time. If the kids have a great time, they have fun, they're going to learn faster, right? But once you reconstruct a little bit more about the business, right, it's much easier to say, as you said, how do you want to be treated, right? You and I have been to places, right? We're not going to name them, but when you come in and people are actually hiding behind the desk,
Yeah, or on their phones.
on their phone, or they're turning around, and so that's something at the front desk,
You
our
notice
front
it.
desk coordinators. That's part of her training. I want to make sure when you come in, you get a visual,
Yeah.
and you're going to say hi, right? When your kids arrive, you're going to go and you're going to give them a high five. You're going to acknowledge their name, because they come every week, so they build a report. Before they leave, you're going to take them for coming. Thank you for giving us business. Drive safely home, because we care, right?
Were you always an entrepreneur? Were you growing up?
Always, yeah. So it started when I was probably about 7 or 8. I started to sell maple syrup.
Okay.
So I had maple syrup on a weekend with my parents, and I went home. I went to school and I sold about $12 worth of maple syrup. And I came back and I said to my mom, "Here's $12." I said, "Where do you do that?" I said, "Oh, I sold maple syrup," not knowing that it would take about 60 liters of like of doing this. So we laughed. We did in the barbecue, but that was the journey. And after that, I started to organize parties in various bars,
Okay.
and at university and college, and so on and so forth. So I always been interested in it, right? And I went to law, as I said, I look at every entrepreneur that I knew, and a lot of them had a law background as a fallback,
Yeah.
right? So if things don't work out, at least you have a career. And that's where I start to work after university. I work in Argentina. So I started my career working in a law firm in Buenos Aires, doing a lot of mining international business. My mentor became a really close friend. He took me under his wing, and I've learned a lot about business. And when I came back to Ottawa, I worked for another lawyers for 2 years, and I just started my own firm, right? Because at the time, there were no small boutique firm when you think 20 years back. And I said, people want to be treated, and I twisted the name. I'm not a corporate lawyer. I'm a business lawyer, right? It sounds stupid, but the entrepreneur don't know what a corporate lawyer is,
Agreed.
right? So you want to simplify it for them to know,
Use the wording.
use the word that they understand, and just be on their space. And because I practiced law in Argentina, the first 20 minutes of every meeting in Argentina, you talk about personal stuff.
Right.
You build a rapport, right? You ask about your wife, about soccer, about, food, new restaurant. And when I came back and I started to do that, people thought again I was completely nuts.
Yeah.
Because they were like, "What do you want? We're here." And I said, "No, no, this is not the way I work. Let's get to know each other. Let's build rapport." And that's how we build a business. And Hazlo, which is Hazlo Law, it's my firm, mean do it in Spanish
Mm,
because we're doer,
mm,
right? As entrepreneur, we're doer.
right.
And we build a business. We build it to about 25 people. And as the journey, right, I wanted to do something else. I still practice law. I still have a book of clients that I maintain because it's relationship for 15 years. And I feel that, and I posted on LinkedIn recently about this, how being a lawyer after being an entrepreneur or at the same time, you're a much better lawyer.
That's what, when you were talking about your entrepreneurial experience, the first thing that came in my mind is like, you must be an incredible business lawyer now.
Because I
Like,
understand that,
yeah,
and I can just
you,
zoom in on
yeah,
this is really important. That's a
yeah,
big risk. This is a lower risk.
yeah,
So people appreciate that, right? And it's the same thing when we look at a problem now for kids can swim. I can say, okay, from legal standpoint, is there any exposure there, right?
right.
And you take everything that you have, right? So you can look at it marketing wise. You can say, okay, what do I really care as a dad,
Mm,
right? We have two kids, my wife and I. They're 3 and 4.5, and I can understand what's important to us. And I think when we do marketing, that's what we do. We're honest about what parents truly cares about, right? And there's no fluff love. We're not trying to be pretentious. And as I said earlier, the proof is in the pudding. Just come for a free trial, see what if you like it. And it's really driven by your kids at the end of the day, right? If you have to drag your kids to swimming lessons, it's a pain in the butt. If when they're excited to come and in the car on the way back, they're excited, they're smiling, they had fun, and as a parent, you saw that they actually made progression.
it's very
It's the
rewarding. Yeah,
trifecta,
yeah,
right? As a parent, they had fun, they want to go back, and they learned something. It's hard not to be. That's why we're in this business.
how do you manage both things?
So I have a really good team at both places, right? So really at the law firm, I manage the team and I'm overseeing the files with a group of lawyers, right? And on the team, same thing. I have general managers at different sites. I have director of operation, and I look more at the direction of the firm and ensuring that it's growing. So my role is really more on the growth, the marketing to make sure that it's telling the right story and the right message. So that's what I'm trying to.
How do you switch your mind off? Like, it's two completely
I
different.
don't think I do
Yeah.
actually. It's a good question. I don't think I do. As you said earlier, I look at the file on the law side, like with the background of being an entrepreneur, which is okay. Well, this is what we're trying to achieve. Legally, I know the game plan,
Mm,
and I'm saying, okay, now let's put my hat of an entrepreneur. If I'm acting for you, for instance, if you want to buy a company, right? I'm going to look at the letter of intent and I'm going to look at what really matters from a business standpoint. I'll do the business standpoint first and I'll do the legal second. Because I know from your standpoint as a CEO of an entrepreneur, you're going to want to know the business side first. And the second is the legal thing. And I think a lot of lawyers are doing the opposite. They're starting with just the legal without understanding the business.
agreed.
And I think by doing this, the law side is super important. But if we don't get across the business side, you're not going to be convinced,
Correct.
right? And on the kids can swim side, it's really to ensure that the team is just doing what we agreed that we would do, right? We have 5 fundamental core values, and they have to follow through on this, right? I want at no point in time that the kid is at risk or parents. So safety is number one. But we have processes in place on a daily basis to make sure that things are done. And every single supervisor, I'll give you an example. We have what we call a daily safety check, which is fundamentally a jot form, right? That they fill up on their phone. And it's a QR code that they get on their phone. They walk the facility and they look at everything, right? Is the pump running? What is the PSI, the pressure on A, B, C, D, right? And we have different, if it's above certain numbers, they have to call. Not only one person doing it, 4 people are doing it.
Mm,
Why? Because we know humans are not perfect. Someone's going to miss something. But if we want to be perfect, well, that's as close as perfect as possible, right? If you do it 4 times, safety will happen. It's no secret,
mm,
right? So I think that's my job now. It's to ensure that these things are done, that I recruit good talents, because I think this company has been built with people, and the team that we have are just phenomenal. That's like if you go on Google review, the number of review that we get naming people, right? Julia is fantastic. David is fantastic. We had one on Monday. Was Alexander in Orleans, right? And they tell the story, right? It's a personal journey to them. So it's really to guide the team to grow both professionally and personally. And a lot of her team members are between 17 and 21. So we have a younger workforce. It's to ensure that they learn to do the things properly. I can tell you the number of time I had to write the recommendation letter to go to university,
Mm.
right? Or for a job or for a reference for a job when they start to work in a company. It's really cool, right? To get the phone and say, "Oh yes, I've worked." They worked with us for 2 years, and they were doing this and doing this. It's very fulfilling, right? And I'm grateful that people are trusting us to work at Kids Can Swim, right? So that's how I'm trying to separate the two. It depends of the week. Some weeks are more heavy on the law side, some work on the other side, but the purpose remained the same.
What's next for Kids Can Swim?
So Kids Can Swim, we want to scale it. So we're actively looking. We put offers on renting space to grow in Barrhaven. Barrhaven is a difficult market. There's not a whole lot of supply in terms of spaces. So we're looking at very alternative buying land, building. We're looking at other places in Ottawa. And once we're going to have 5 to 6 sites, we're going to go around Ottawa. We're going to go to Kingston, Belleville,
Ontario.
Ontario. We're going to go to Quebec, being myself from Quebec. There's a lot of opportunity in Montreal, South Shore, Laurentian, a little bit, for Laval is one of the place where I can think of, right? They have the same problem, right? People want to have quality learn to swim lessons, right? And it's just hard to get, right? I think that's where we want to take the business next.
So scalability is huge.
Scalability is huge because we have the system in place. We have the proof of concept, and we have made a lot of mistakes,
Right.
and we'll continue to do some, but every time we're fixing it.
Are you looking to franchise, or it's all going to be corporately owned?
So we didn't make the decision yet, right? We may do a mix of both. We're not sure. It's a very capital intensive business. So, but the amortization is over 20 years, right? So at least your payback time is not, it's the barrier to entry, right? It's not uncommon to spend anywhere between 2.5 and 3.5 million per site,
Mm.
right? So the barrier of entry is but it's worth it because the end result is you have a purpose-built site,
Mm.
right? There's a lot of other business model, which I respect,
Mm.
which are to rent pool in various hotels, for
Mm.
instance. But for us, it's really important that the pool is at 92 degrees, super warm.
You have
And
control of the whole
we have
system.
control, and that the pool is shallow,
Mm.
3 feet and 4 feet. So these are fundamental that you can change, and you want to control, right? What's around you. You can make decision faster. For instance, for all of the equipment, we have two of everything, right? We have two boilers, right?
Mm.
We buy and double because if something breaks, we don't want to have to cancel and you have to wait 3 weeks
Yeah.
to get a part. So that's part of the business model.
Yeah.
We learn, right? At first, we didn't know that. Now we
Mhm.
know that. So if something breaks, we just swap it and we operate within an hour.
Yeah, because if you're gone, if you're out for a month, 2 months, you could lose the traction of the kid.
You lose the traction, you lose
Momentum.
also the
Yeah.
momentum. People are not,
Yeah.
they're not happy,
Yeah.
which is rightly so. It's
Yeah.
our job to do everything we can in our power, right? To be able to do a good job. And that's part of it, right? You have to be open. And it will happen that we'll have to close. Like everything else, there are maintenance, there are issues with, these are equipments,
Mm.
they will break, but we have preventive maintenance, right? We work with a company in Ottawa called Ottawa Pool Works that it's the best company in my opinion in Canada, who help us with building the pool, making sure that the system is designed properly. So we bring the best of the best and as partner, and we work with them closely to ensure that they can do their best and we're getting out of the way. That's my approach, right?
Yeah, and I guess when you scale, there's other opportunities with partnerships
Yeah.
because construction, leasing, like if you scale across Canada, it is capitally intensive
Yeah.
where your cost per location could go down based on the scalability of things
Exactly.
too.
Exactly. And if you buy 10 machine, for instance, right, we have preferred partner that we're dealing with, but that's something that we're certainly looking into it.
From a business perspective, do you ever look at, okay, the return on investment from a financial perspective on a cash flow analysis, you're talking 20, 25 years. W- How about from a multiple perspective? Like based on 5 locations versus 20 locations versus 40 locations, have you done the math around the potential multiple that increases? Like in the States, that's how a lot of people think.
Yeah.
In Canada, people don't think about scalability as much. What's your analysis around
So
scalability?
so think about the we're going to talk about the business of swim schools, right? Which a lot of people operating their swim school across, in America, North America, are former teacher, right? They've started to teach in the background pool, and they were super successful, and they built a first location, and so on and so forth. So for me, when I look at it purely from a financial standpoint, right? It's a business decision to open a new location. The advantage is, think about it. I always say that all the time. It's no different than real estate,
Right.
right? Because when it's turned cash flow, right? It's recurrent cash flow.
Yeah.
And once your debt is paid, depending of your debt to ratio,
Yeah.
right? Once your debt is paid, you can fund the other one.
Yeah.
And I think we're
It's like a
all
rent. It's like a rental property. Yeah.
that's exactly it,
Yeah.
right? Pay the mortgage as quickly as possible,
Yeah.
use the cash flow to buy more or enjoy life,
Yeah.
right? So it's very similar in terms of business. So make sure we pay the debt quickly, generate cash flow for 2, 3, 4 location, and you can open 2 a year.
Mm.
And I think as we scale, we're gonna reach a point where we're gonna self-fund it everything,
Mm.
right? The growth, we're already there for the fourth location that we're working on right now will be self-funded, but the first three. And I
Wow.
think that's as thing progresses, right? Things are you have the cash flow to be able to scale. I think that's the biggest advantage.
And how about from a multiple perspective? Is it like do you know how to like how is it? I mean, accounting firms, for example,
Yeah.
it's one times right. Law firms, it's one times
So
revenue.
so we already spoke to private equity in the US,
Mm.
right? We've been approached to raise money and they want to invest in us. So we had the conversation, and I will continue to have conversation. We're not interested at this point, but we're interested. If you are between 0 and 3 stores, 3 locations, you're looking at 3 to 4 times EBITDA. If you're above 4 to 10,
What is EBITDA for people to?
so everything is earning before interest and tax. So anything, it's net profit before you pay, the bank loan, right? So if you have a bank loan, and before you can amortize for tax purposes, right? So that's anywhere between 3 and 4 times. If you have less than 4 locations, between 4 and 10, you can probably get 5 to 6, and above 10 location, 6 to 10 time EBITDA. So that's what the market is paying right now, especially
And
in the
and,
US.
it, and it's good that you went through that process. A lot of people don't think about that process and think that smaller is better sometimes.
No.
When you grow,
Yeah.
you're doing the same thing. You've systemized your approach, and that's where investors and private equity and all these individuals
Yeah.
like pay quadruple. So you're doing the same amount of work,
Yeah.
just on a more scalability.
And you work, like, I think the discussion, and like, this is the background in law here, but oftentimes if you have 1 or 2 location and you're not there as the owner, the business crumble. That's why 65% of businesses crumble after 3, because you can be at 3 places at the same time. 2, you can manage.
Mm.
They're fairly close. You can fill up the gap and go one location, the other one. But once you're at 3, 4, if you don't have system in place, you're going to fail, right? So think about it that way, right? For people to understand a bit more that you have a system, more that you're replaceable, right? More that the business is valuable, because when a buyer will buy, you will not be around. So they want something that is sustainable and continue to churn and churn and make money, right? And that's why they're willing to pay more, because if you scale it to 10 location, you're not in the facility every day running the business.
Mm.
And I think that's just the reality of life. And in terms of vision for the business, uh, we have a plan to open 5 to 6 in Ottawa, and we're going to reassess, and we're going to 15, or we're going to 50, or we're going to franchise. We didn't make that decision yet. I can tell you we get a lot of interest from people,
Yeah, I believe it.
to buy a franchise
Yeah.
internationally. But at this point in time, we're really focused. We're building the dream team here in Ottawa that are, and that's the beauty of the business. We're able to build a dream team before we scale,
Yeah.
right? A lot of people, oftentimes you grow and you don't have the right people in place. So we're doing this by virtue of hiring the right people, and then we can then press go and fire.
Did your law practice help you be able to stomach the next step of things? Like when you talk about scalability of 10 locations at
Yeah.
$2.5 to $3.5 million per location,
Yeah.
a lot of people can't stomach that. How
I
did you
think
build
I
that up?
think I think I was reflecting on it a couple of weeks ago. It's like everything in life. If you wait for the perfect moment, you never do it. If I knew how difficult a pool business would be, I would have never done it.
Right.
So it's okay to be naive a little bit as long as I'm going to work hard and you're going to take risks. It's going to take longer than you think, always.
Yeah.
But if you knew how difficult things were, you wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's why it's called risk.
Yeah.
What's your risk tolerance?
Right.
Right. And if you know you're incapable, don't do it.
Right.
Right. And if you understand that it will be difficult, and don't be silly, right? Don't over leverage yourself at 95%. Once you have 2 months that kids are gone, for instance, in the summer, right? It's a bit less busy because people take holidays or away. So or revenue dip, right? But you can plan for it, cash flow, right? You can plan for it. You can look at your balance sheet. You can say, you know what? Do I have enough cash in the bank? Do I like can I stomach it for 4 months instead of two? Right? You can predict how things will be. Right. So I think
So the way you stomach things or deal with risk tolerances, is it through numbers and
it's
through
numbers planning is to make sure that, if their numbers go down 50%, right? What's the sensitivity?
Mm,
Right. We do a lot of sensitivity issues because, COVID, we went out of COVID, the swimming lessons went like this, because people didn't swim for 2 years. And now it went back to a more normal, right? But can your business survive when you do a sensitivity test to lose 30% of your clients? Are you still going to make money? What's your break even point? Right. So that's the kind of things that for me, I know numbers, and I know that if we lose 50 kids 1 week, as long as we resell 60, we're plus 10.
mm,
And I think a lot of people are not looking at it that way, right? That's the way, calculate what's your minimum breaking point, sell it before you open, and at least it give you time.
yeah.
And that's one thing that I've learned as a lawyer is if you're in the game,
Yeah.
you will survive.
Yeah.
Don't make sure you're still in the game.
Yeah.
I think that's the difference. Yeah.
And from a cash flow perspective, the advantages of that model is you receive cash right away.
Right away.
Okay,
First of the
yeah,
month.
yeah.
Exactly.
So
So
it can
first of the
fund.
month, we
Yeah.
press the button and we get cash, right?
Yeah.
So we don't have issue with receivable,
Right.
30, 60, 90s, or, we don't have that issues, provided that you have enough cash to be able to pay your fixed cost.
And what are the few metrics that you look at on a month-to-month basis?
So we look at, to me, the important part is a lot of people will say it's enrollment, which really is important, the number of kids in your program. For me, it's more about the retention, what's your churn rate, right? Because if we lose 150 kids and we have 500 kids, right, it's 30%.
Do you have a wait list?
We have a wait list at every site,
Wow.
right? But I'm looking at the churn rate and understanding why. And we spend a lot of time understanding the why people quit. And again, a lot of people, it's because they just swim during the winter.
Mm,
But we have the data. We ask people when they leave, right? So I think that's something that I look. What's the churn rate? What is the growth per location? What is the wage to ratio? So in other words, if you're down 15% and you don't look at your wages, right? You just lost a ton of money. So you have to adjust your payroll based on number of kids that you have in your program. So, right. So that takes a couple of years to understand the cycle. So you can adjust. For instance, July and August, we're not as busy as we are in September for obvious reasons. So instead of running 9 lanes, which is 9 classes at the same time, we're going to run 6,
mm.
right? So you just save 30% in wages, right? So that's what the business teaches you, right?
And how important is business structure while you're scaling?
The business structure is crucial. We have one core per location
Mm,
for creditor proofing, right? And I think it's also easier if you want to sell it down the road. A lot of
yeah.
people run within one corp with everything, with their personal money in there and all that stuff. So it's for us, we have a structure which is we have our holding company and we have one location, one company per location, which funnel and pay the loan, make sure that if money needs to be put back, they put back and guarantee, right?
And why I've done the similar thing as that corporate structure is even from an accounting perspective, you get to see the financials per location so you can make determinations.
Determination, what goes.
Have you seen the same trends or have the trends been, you're like,
It's very similar year
yeah,
to year.
yeah,
Location,
even location specific?
yes, location specific, the numbers, but the beauty is we're able to look at it, the three of them, right? And with AI, right,
Mhm.
we can get access to incredible reporting.
Yeah,
Once you get your data,
yeah,
you figure out what's important. And as I said, it's just not enrollment. It's
yeah.
what's the churn rate, right? And what's the industry standard for the churn rate? So I'm very involved in the Learn to Swim world. We started the Swim School Association of Canada
Mhm.
about 6 years ago, 5 years ago. So I was involved quite a bit in this in the past couple of years, and I met a lot of the owners. It's a fantastic industry because people are really, really trying to help one another.
Yeah,
The amount of time that I was on phone at 7 o'clock at night on a Sunday, we had an issue with the pool or the pump, and I was with an owner in Toronto. People are fantastic. And that's something so different from law, right? When everyone's trying to win.
yeah.
This one is basically let's help each other.
Right.
And I think that's refreshing.
Yeah.
That's
It's a different
I'm
energy.
gonna leave it there, but that's
Yeah,
refreshing,
yeah.
right?
And your wife, what does she do in the
So she works in the government, federal government.
okay.
She's in charge of all of the registrations. So she's the one who set up the classes, making sure that we look at like enrollment numbers and so on and so forth. And she's in charge also at all the front desk and the training for the people.
How's work? I mean, how's having ownership with your significant other?
Not recommended. Look,
I didn't know how to position it
at
without
the
you
end of the
getting
day,
in trouble.
my wife was not supposed to be involved. It was my project, but because by virtue of COVID and all the stuff we've been through, she jumped in and she helped,
Mm,
right? And slowly we're using her less and less as we're bringing more people.
mm,
But she's still the guru because she's done it for 4 years, right?
mm,
And if you're married to an entrepreneur,
mm.
your brain's always running,
Yeah.
right? You're always thinking, always bouncing idea with her. We'll be in the car and I'll ask her and what she thinks. And I'm lucky because she's very supportive, but also she has a really good business mind and she understands what a mom wants
Mm,
because she's a mom.
right.
She understands that if we're going to change that policy for ABC, that's not going to resonate well for a mom who has two kids.
Right.
Or when I'm going to come back and say I have this great promotion in my head, and she's going to look at me and said, "Parents don't care."
Mm,
Right? She's going to be able to criticize it for the best of the business.
mm.
Without her, I would not be where we are with the business. That's for sure.
And yeah, I mean, I get it for sure because she's a customer
Yep.
at the end of the day,
She's the
and
perfect
you're the
target market.
Yeah,
She has two kids.
right.
We have two kids, like 3 and 4.5. She knows exactly that the way that people want to be spoken to,
Right.
treated with respect, and so on and so forth, and what resonate, right? And I think that's something we've been told. I think our communication with the guests have been very transparent.
Mm.
Like we're not sugarcoating stuff. We're very honest with them about
And that's your
that's
personality.
my personality. But
Yeah.
we also, if we want to do a change, we'll ask them,
Yeah.
right? We're gonna send every quarter, right? What do we do well? What do you don't do well?
Why don't businesses do that? Like, why
The
is that?
fear to be criticized, right? The fear to be criticized. And for me, I'm a big believer. I want to know what we do right.
Yeah.
Right? And what you do. I remember when I started my career, one of my mentors said, every year when you turn your birthday, right? That's your birthday, you're going to send an email to 5 or 6 of your closest friends and mentors. And you're going to ask them, it's my birthday. I want you to tell me what I'm good at and what I'm not good at.
Mm,
And if you like me, you're going to spend a lot of time on what I'm not good at.
right.
And the first time that I got the email, holy,
Was it a lot of was it a big
It
book?
was tough to read, but it
Right,
was true.
right.
It was true. So you can grow and you can learn and you can change and you can get feedback. So I believe that by getting feedback from people, and if they take the time to fill up the bloody survey,
Mm,
they're fantastic
right,
because they care about your business if you engage. And more importantly, when they see that you actually listen and you change stuff, that's how you have like a customer for life.
right.
Right. And I think that's what we're doing. And sometimes it's not fun. Sometimes it's like, oh my God, I thought we were doing a better job. But that's how you learn in business. That's how you learn in life. Right.
I mean, I love your entrepreneurial spirit. Just the fact that you're taking, the law practice and you're actually going and doing it. Like that's what resonates me more than anything.
Mm,
There's a lot of people, professionals that talk about it but don't do it.
right.
And then you are asking these individuals for advice and it's so tunnel vision
Yeah.
of, hey, like, yeah, like I remember buying an accounting firm
Yep.
and the lawyer almost talked me out of the deal because she didn't see it from an entrepreneurial perspective. And that business turned around and went through the roof
Yep.
from a revenue perspective because she didn't see the opportunity because she was just looking at a very specific place. So I definitely could see, is your main focus in the law firms buying and selling?
Yep. Buying and selling businesses, merger and
Right,
acquisition. That's what I do. Right.
right,
And I can tell people that I'm acting for,
right.
okay, this is the rational.
Yeah,
Business wise, this is the legal rational. What do you see that I don't see?
right.
Okay, this is a risk legally. How do we make sure we patch this A, B, C, D, and let's go?
And it probably makes you better also on the kids can swim
Absolutely,
because
because
then
I'm
now you're
learning
seeing
on both way, right?
yeah,
I'm learning and I'm seeing things, and I think you're right. I think a lot of people. That's one thing I remember my wife said. She said, "Look, you're a really good lawyer,
yeah,
right? Because you care,
yeah,
right? It takes a toll on you personally when you
right,
care, but I want you to try it."
yeah.
Right? The because I was talking about kids can swim for 3 4 years. I remember one of my mentor, uh, right? A guy who was very well known in Ottawa, and we're sitting at the Rose Bowl in Ottawa on curling
Oh,
before they were
yeah,
still on
it's,
curling. And I remember like yesterday, we were for lunch, and I've been talking to him about it. And he looked at me, said, "Are you going to do it or
mm,
just shut up?"
yeah,
And I got into my car, and I was so mad.
yeah.
And he really pushed me. And I said, let's like went back home and I said to Tegan, I said,
Why didn't you want to do it? Was the
the
fear?
fear, the fear of not that's not working out. You're comfortable,
Well, and you're a big time lawyer, you're advising people like
but you take no risk.
yeah, that's the bigger fear. Like, and now if you fail here, fail in
Yeah,
quotations,
yeah.
like
I
what are
was
my
scared
clients gonna like?
shitless that it wouldn't work. And
Right.
everyone told me not to do it, by the way, except this mentor. Everyone, because he saw the market is like, yeah, it's gonna work. But everyone else said, no, this is bullshit. You
So what
have
got you courage to do it?
my gut. And when I sat down and I was like, if I'm unable to find 70 clients a day, I'm a failure,
Mm.
right? I will go and knock on door, like literally, which we did during COVID. And, I will wear some shorts, and I will go to the supermarket and distribute flyer, right? Because I just believe when people saw what I saw, right? Which is ease of access and all the stuff we talked about earlier, it's a no brainer.
But why put yourself through that? Like
Because
you're
life is about trying new stuff and just to prove to yourself that it's actually doable and it's much more fun,
yeah.
right? I could have continued in the path and there were nothing necessarily wrong, but I just wanted to do something. And it was, as we discussed, it was my calling to be more an entrepreneur, and a lot of clients came to me
Yeah.
before because I had a business answer.
Right.
I was not just pushing paper.
Yeah.
I would say, David, are you nuts?
Yeah.
Right? Have you seen that the cash flow here is going to cost you like, and they would look at me and say, your lawyer is not supposed to tell you that.
Right.
And I said, well, I'm looking at it for you,
Right.
right? Well, when we did a deal and the work cap adjustment didn't make
Yeah.
any sense, right? I remember a deal, I got into a discussion and I was like, the clients wanted to have, I don't remember, let's say $10 million, right? And they offer $9 million, big US company, $1 billion company in the US who purchased. They made an offer to 9, right? So the client said, "Nope, sorry, I'm not interested." They came back 24 hours after, sent it to the accountant to everyone, $10 million. What is the minimum net worth on closing? $1 million. So effectively, they will receive, what it means is the minimum net worth is when you sell the business, how much money do you need to leave in the bank account when you close? They wanted $1 million. They gave them 10 million, but the guys had to leave $1 million into the business.
Same deal. Yeah.
Same deal.
Yeah.
But they were all excited. And the accountant was like, "You got your 10 million." I said, "You bozo, you got 9 million."
Yeah.
And they like, that's what it is, right? If
Yeah.
you don't understand the dynamic from a business standpoint,
Right.
imagine if I was on the other side, I could say they want 10, give them 10, but take $1 million out.
Right.
You give them what they want.
Right.
So that's just a different approach.
And you know what? In business, it's all about the art of the business.
Yeah. It's all about the people.
It's all, yeah.
It's all about the people, right? It's all about the people. You manage ego, you manage what's important to them, and that's why I'm a big believer. Go into a negotiation about what you want, and just being super transparent. And just this is I used to do that a lot. This is what I want, and if it's not acceptable, that's okay. It's not going to work. Or if we continue negotiating, instead of going up, we're going to go down. So it's, people are so confused. I'll go to you and say, "I'll pay you 2.5 million for ABC reasons. And if you start negotiating, I'll offer you 2.4, 2.3, 2.2." Right? It's not realistic in every aspect, but it's giving you an idea.
Right.
Right?
And you're setting the tone right off the
You're setting the tone, and if there's no BS and there's no game, I think people appreciate that.
Yeah.
I've dealt with a lot of difficult people that people in the world said these people are very difficult, very tough. Never had an issue with them.
Mm.
Why? Because I was straightforward. I didn't play games, and I didn't go in their back trying to change stuff. Right? And I think a lot of people they like that because they know they can be trusted. You're not going to go and try to pull a fast one on them. Right?
Where do you see the business community in Ottawa going?
I think people are changing. The mentality is changing. People are less scared. When I came here in 2002 for law school, it was very small, and people were insecure that being in Ottawa. Now I think a lot of people, the city grew dramatically,
Mm.
more infrastructure, which created some issues, as you appreciate,
Yeah.
traffics and all that kind of stuff. But the city is at a better place, and people are more happy to be in Ottawa. They're less ashamed. Before it's like, "Oh, I live in Ottawa, but it's beside Toronto or Montreal." And I think people are helping each other. And I think that's one of the beauty, and people don't really understand. In Ottawa, you can get in touch with everyone
Yeah.
very easily.
Yeah.
And I say that to people. I mentor a lot of people, and I said, pick up the phone.
Yeah. It's it's
It's
the
a small
biggest. Yeah.
community.
Yeah.
But and the people who don't make the time for you, you don't want them in your life anyway.
Yeah.
Right? If I sent you an email and I said, "Look, I value what you do, and I think your startup is fantastic. Can I pick your brain?" You'll find the time.
Absolutely.
And I think that's, a lot of people are losing an opportunity here
Yeah.
to grow. And I think you can get in touch with everyone in Ottawa,
Yeah.
right? Provided that you're respectful, you don't waste their time.
Yeah.
But I think that's what it is, right?
Hugh, is there anything we missed throughout the journey that you want to talk about?
No, I don't think so. I think I'm very pleased that we're building this, the Learn to Swim, right? We're creating and creating a new category, right? And it's going to be based in Ottawa, and we're going to run it from Ottawa. So that's really cool. And we're just grateful for the community support, right? The other entrepreneur and the other people who are helping us, recommending us, promoting us, right? I think that's very special.
And from one entrepreneur to another, I'm happy you took that initiative and actually did it. I definitely see the opportunity. I mean, taking on that, before the pandemic and all the emotion around it, after you saying yes to the feeling of going after it must have been very difficult.
It was a tough time. It's funny how, and maybe in closing, we can say that, but it's funny how you tend to forget, right? When you have
Yeah.
kids, you tend to forget the bad part. You
Yeah.
just keep the good part.
And then you have another kid.
Exactly. Now you remember.
Yeah.
That's just reality, right? We struggle. We keep pushing. We never
Yeah.
stop. People believed in us, and the team support us, and Yeah, that's what it was.
And I want a lot of entrepreneurs to take this conversation too. And like, what I feel from the conversation is your just your openness to personality of like, hey, you want to do better, you want to give the best customer service, you have true passion of what you do, and the numbers have to work as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you're looking at it from a both perspective.
You have to work the way I look. You have to look at it rationally
Yeah,
and emotionally.
correct.
And if the two match and the two works, that's a good thing, right? And don't be scared to ask people for feedback before
Mm,
you start,
mm,
right? It always kills me to understand that people are working in silo. And I understand the IP and trying not to divulge secret. I get that, right? Their NDA you can put in place, but go seek feedback for customer. Just, if you're trying to build something, go seek feedback. I remember when we did the first analysis, right? I was working with Jim Durrell, the former mayor, and I said, Jim, what's the issues? Well, the pool are losing $500,000 a year. That's the city of Ottawa in average because it's a service to the community.
mm.
We're not going to build 25 of them more,
Right,
right? Because that just doesn't make any
right.
sense. And I said, what's important to people? I went and I talked to people. What's important? You want to have class in the morning? 7 o'clock, is it too early? Go and talk to people. See feedback.
But the thing is, and this is a point I want to talk about, seek feedback to customers who are looking for your service.
Yes,
Asking for advice if you should start a business is different,
totally different.
right?
And you have
Nine
to
out of
ask to someone who did it.
right,
Because, I want
right,
to ask to someone who built 3 businesses and
right,
sold 6 of them for 200 million.
right,
I want to ask someone, who works at ABC and never took any risk in his life.
right.
And I think it's, to your point, I think it's very crucial.
Yeah, because a lot of people go and ask their parents or whatever that are in the government or haven't done it, and the first reaction is like, "Well, that's way too risky,"
Yep.
versus asking someone that's already built a firm and saying, "Hey, go do it. What are you waiting
100%.
for?" And you being upset in a car because he told you what you didn't want to hear, but you wanted to hear.
Yep. And he was right.
Yeah.
Right. At some point and that's what, yeah, absolutely.
If you had a sticky note, if you put a sticky note on your first laptop before you ever got started,
Yep.
what would it say?
Just do it.
Thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you
on the
for
podcast. If people wanted to get a hold of you, where's the best way to get a hold of you?
on the website, Kids Can Swim Canada. Kids Can Swim Canada has all the information on the law firm, Hazlo Law. My email is there as well, underneath my picture, and more than happy to talk.
Thanks, you.
Thank you.